By the outer way? They've been hitting targets all over the sector for the past 6 months.
Hey guys, welcome back to a new game review. This time I'm going to be reviewing the Callisto Protocol, a highly anticipated but also highly hated game. Is the hate blown out of proportion, or is this game something worth getting now that there's been some discounts? Callisto Protocol really starts out strong. Right in the beginning you're going to notice that the game is gorgeous. The graphics are seriously top notch and feel next gen. I played this one on PC in 4K and just loved what they were able to do with the environment. The environment of the prison seriously steals the show, with each room feeling abandoned and almost basically war-torn by the creatures that are attacking you. The faces in the game are also from real actors, the lead being from the Transformers series and another recognizable face from The Boys. When it comes to graphics and presentation, the game is seriously at its best. Sound isn't that bad either as well. The sound design does keep you engaged and tense, even if the tension starts to go away in the middle of the game. The creatures sound terrifying. Each hit with the baton has this satisfying squish, and Jacob stomping his boot into their bodies seriously just sounds gross. They did a really good job with sound and graphics in my opinion. To give everyone some story perspective, you play the role of Jacob Lee, who's basically running medical supplies from Europa to Callisto, a prison moon that's on Jupiter. You go to check on the cargo after talking to your co-pilot Max and just find out that you've been boarded by a terrorist group led by this person named Danny Nakamura. She's the one from The Boys. The Outer Way Terrorists is what they're called, and they basically just crash your ship on this moon, killing your co-pilot, and get you locked up for this. Yeah, Danny really sucks. Of course, in just horror movie fashion, whatever experiments that they were running on this prison go south. Prisoners all get infected and attacked by crazy zombie creature things. You break out, and with the help of a really likable prisoner named Elias, work on getting off the moon. The story really starts off strong, and isn't that bad by the end when it comes to the whole overall story. I liked the game at first, I was invested in everything, and was just really thinking to myself, did reviewers miss on this one? And they just couldn't see what was going wrong. The game wasn't that bad. You're starting off with a melee weapon, and you basically use the sticks to dodge attacks from left and right. Kind of like For Honor, maybe like a boxing game. I didn't have issues in the beginning. I mean, I would just see where they were attacking. If it was the right hand, I'd dodge left. If it was left hand, I was dodging right. I mean, the game felt tense. The atmosphere on the prison was great. Ammo was limited for the gun that you had. And the melee combat wasn't too difficult. I mean, I like to attack them with melee just to save bullets. And I mean, you even get this new thing called a gravity glove, or it's called a GRP or grip, and you're basically just grabbing enemies with it and able to chuck them places. Sometimes there's some conveniently spiked walls for some reason. Sometimes there's some fans that are blowing. I mean, you can just throw their body into it and basically fight your way out of this prison for the majority of the game. By the end, you're getting even more weapon schematics. You get a machine gun, you're getting a shotgun, a skunk gun that's a small, overpowered shotgun pistol. I mean, you're printing all of this. Yes, printing it on a 3D printer. Seriously, the 3D printer idea was sick. Whoever came up with that, props to you. It's awesome just being able to print bullets, health, upgrades. All of this uses Callisto credits, which is basically the currency in the game. You're going to find that on, the zombies' bodies after stomping on them to make sure that they're dead. Where you'll either get Callisto credits, you're getting bullets, sometimes you get health. And speaking of stomping on their bodies, sometimes if you forget, they come back to life and try to take you out. So with the enemies, I mean, there's variety. It doesn't really get boring when it comes to the enemy design until the end with the whole mini-boss aspect, but that's something I'll touch on later. You're basically dodging and weaving enemies that are these zombie human things. You've got the crawlers on the ground, you've got exploding zombies, you've got this larva thing that's kind of like from Alien that tries to suck your face. You've got another one that'll extend out of an egg and latch onto your neck and try to bite you. Spitter zombies, two-headed mini-boss, and even blind creatures at a certain area in the game that gives you this whole full stealth segment that I thought was awesome. I wasn't really bored by the enemies at all, and I don't think it got repetitive until maybe the end. bashing the brains in with the baton or lifting them into the air and throwing them into a fan felt awesome. I mean, was the grip a little overpowered? Probably yeah, but I mean with the cooldown it wasn't really a huge issue and it didn't really detract from that hopelessness you get in these horror games. You do start to dread fighting things though by the end. So with the story being pretty good, graphics are good, sounds good, I mean what's not there to like with the game? Here's the thing, Callisto Protocol seems to do everything right for that first half of the game. You've got crazy death scenes where the zombies are just brutalizing you. Combat is intense, I mean there's places where you can solve combat puzzles with your grip, throwing explosive things at the zombies or slamming them into the spike walls. Ammo's limited and useful for the guns that you're getting. The game seriously flows well for maybe that 3-4 hours in, and then it just crashes and burns. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, by the end I really didn't like this game, and almost any hype I had for Dead Space is just out of the window, considering I've never even played Dead Space. It's reassuring to hear that, I mean, this game is a shell of what Dead Space is, because I really liked where the game started. My issue with this game is that it loses its identity completely after that first half. The game starts off as a survival horror game with some action sprinkled in, and then it just turns into this weird action game, and it's really just not designed for that. I got to the point where I was just wondering if anyone creating the game bothered to play it past that first half. Jacob's arsenal grows to a point where you don't have any room for healing items thanks to just bullets everywhere. And then you finally get an upgraded suit, and the game decides to just throw mobs of creatures at you. Once the mobs come, the cracks in the game start to show. The control system just straight up sucks. Using the left stick to just dodge left and right was seriously just hit or miss. Enemies would get up close and personal, throw off the camera, and when you dodge in certain directions, either the game didn't recognize it, or you dodge into another enemy, you break the camera, the lock-on system gets all fucked up, and then you try to do a quick shot, shoot the ground, and just shoot the wrong thing, waste a bullet, hit the wrong enemy. It just gets wild when you're fighting 4 or 5 things at once. Sometimes just even trying to grab an enemy with the grip has you grabbing literal trash can off the floor. You end up throwing that, wasting a grip charge, and just get brutalized by the enemy that's in front of you. Because Jacob can't take more than maybe 2 or 3 hits throughout this entire game, which I like, by the way. I like the tension. It's just, if you're gonna throw 5 or 6 things at me, not give me any room to heal, not give me any bullets, it gets ridiculous. The combat seriously becomes the game's worst enemy, and the whole last half of the game is just nothing but constant combat. Healing items got so hard to find, let alone impossible to pull off mid-fight, because Jacob needs to crouch on the floor, stop everything he's doing, inject himself in the neck, scream, and just heal himself. And then you get these certain mini-boss fights that are just coming out of nowhere, and melee for them is completely pointless. So you're doing nothing but dodging left and shooting, dodging left and shooting. You get bored so fast, and just God forbid that the dodge doesn't register, or you run out of bullets and try to switch to another gun, because switching to another gun is literally impossible unless you're away from this enemy, because Jacob needs to detach the gun and just put it kind of together. It takes about a second, and you know, within that second you can get hit, and if you get hit, you're dead. Good luck, you gotta do it again. I found myself having to open an old save and print out bullets because I didn't have enough for a mini boss fight. But by the way, you fight the same fucking guy 3 times. It's like this 2-headed mini boss, and you know, if you struggle with him once, don't worry, he's coming back a couple more times. On top of frustration coming from the controls, I thought the story started to go south too. I was immediately pulled out when you make this alliance with that whole Danny character, because she just sucked. I mean, she basically hates you, she got you into this whole mess, crashed your ship, got your co-pilot killed, gets you locked up, and by the end, I mean, you're supposed to just put all that away and work with her. It made 0 sense to me and just pulled me out of the story. On top of that, I mean, the character is just not likable at all, and she's just mean to you for no reason for the entire time because, you know, you're involved in whatever drama happened on her planet, which, you know, by the end, I don't want to spoil anything, you know, you start to realize what happened and maybe why she's like that, but it just, again, it didn't make any sense to me that you even decided to start working with her. By the end, the game does have this whole bullet sponge boss fight with a twist. I mean, it even leaves room for a sequel with a cliffhanger, But I did some research, don't worry, and I found out that instead, there's a season pass with some clear-cut content. Did I mention that despite getting my ass handed to me for the last hour of the game, I beat the whole $70 title in 9 hours? Yeah. The season pass comes with skin, awesome, an even harder difficulty, great if the controls weren't shit enough, a survival mode, oh god, and story DLC, awesome, 9 hours to have another $30 pass for a story DLC. I just can't believe that they're even considering selling this, considering how short the game is. Seriously guys, I didn't want to finish this game, but I'm glad I did. In the beginning, maybe 2.5 hours, 3 hours in, 8 territory. I liked it, I was engaged, I was having fun. I even played it for just 4 hours straight, and I was thinking to myself, I mean, what's gonna go wrong here? Why did this game just get shit on by all the reviewers? Well, the game answered. And for 3 whole days, I wasn't able to get the game to load after work. You know, I'd go work at 8-hour shift, get off, come home, cook some dinner, decide, alright, let's finish this game up. Nothing. The game crashed once, and ever since then, I had an endless loading screen that just wasn't loading up the game. I had a black screen when I would try to just open the game. And, you know, after 30 minutes of me trying to do that, I would just give up and just play something else. By the end of the hell that I went through with this game, I seriously just have to give it a 5 out of 10. Callisto Protocol starts off strong. I love the graphics, I like the sound, even the level design. There's a fun stealth section that I enjoyed, and I mean I hate stealth sections in games. That section was actually just fun because it was such a change of pace from just going into a room with jump scares left and right that are seriously so predictable, and fighting maybe 5 creatures at once. The controls aren't good, but then they end up terrible by the end because of just how often you're forced to fight. I was fighting the camera, the controller, and the creatures by the end of it. There's no variety in the mini bosses. I mean, you're fighting the same enemy type 3 times in a row, and this bullet sponge boss, which is basically the same thing also. It just really gets draining by the end. And I mean, just finding out that this 9-hour game has the balls to just put out a season pass with story DLC is seriously just a slap in the face. I can't recommend that anyone buys this game unless you're a horror game fan. And that's even with just a deep sale, because to be honest guys, the game really isn't even scary. I really want to play the Dead Space remake, but like I said, this game didn't make me excited for it at all. So that's the whole Callisto Protocol. I probably should have listened to reviewers, but I had to find out for myself. If you made it this far, don't forget to drop a like if you liked the video, and hit subscribe so you don't miss another review. If you like the game, I mean, drop a comment, let me know why. I mean, I really want to see everyone's opinion with this. I've seen some things online where it is kind of split, where some people are like, it's not that bad. Tell me why you liked it. If you didn't like it, also tell me why. I appreciate all the support, you guys. I love the growth that we made last year, and I can't wait to grow again more this year. Thanks again. See you next time.